Is retiring a second time after 17 seasons in the NFL. The tight end intends to sign a one-day contract with the Cowboys so he can retire with the team he played 16 of those 17 seasons for before signing with the Raiders. So, Shannon, good idea or bad idea for him to have played really this past season for Vegas?
Skip, he wanted to play. He wanted to get it all out of his system. He wanted to exhaust everything. He wanted an opportunity to try to play for the Super Bowl. And I've told guys this, Skip, everybody's not meant to play in or win a Super Bowl. You got to be fortunate. You got to be lucky. You got to be on some good teams, and sometimes good things have to happen.
Yep.
But he exhausted all the opportunities. Clearly, he wasn't a player. It's been a while since he's been the Jason Witten that we all know. Waller is the tight end there, and him catching 13 passes for 69 yards, is that really how you want to end your career? So I'm glad it was a great career. I'm glad he decided to say, you know what, it's time.
Well, what happened to Jason Witten in Las Vegas is what a lot of people thought would happen to Tom Brady in Tampa, because it became a bad, sad end to a great career that Jason Witten had in his glory years in Dallas.
Right.
In fact, in his heyday, at his peak, I thought he was even more beloved in Cowboy Nation than his good buddy Tony Romo.
Oh, yeah.
Seriously.
Yeah.
For a while, he was the face of that franchise. And he should have just sort of let it be, because it has a little stain at the end of the career. Like, what are you doing?
Right.
Why would you even try that?
It's kind of like when Emmett left and went to Arizona and come back. You know, Troy and Michael, they Cowboys and Bob Lilly and Randy White, all those guys, Skip. But like I said, Skip, he wanted to try to win a championship, but it didn't work out for him. So I'm glad he's coming home.
Wow. So am I.
Can't next stop, bro.
Seasons. Congrats to Jason Witten. Good stuff today, guys. That's it for Undisputed. We're back same time tomorrow morning. The Herd is on now. Have a good one. Dak Prescott and the Cowboys still do not have a contract in place for the 2021 season as he recovers from injury. There is projected to be more than the normal amount of quarterback movement in the league this offseason, and Matthew Stafford is one of them. Cowboys insider Todd Archer suggests Dallas should make a trade offer for the Lions QB, who has already agreed to move on from the team. Former Cowboys cornerback Orlando Scandrick is joining us now. Orlando, in your opinion, should the Cowboys have any interest in Matthew Stafford?
Absolutely, emphatically, no. It's a hard no. It's a little bit of a case of cutting off your nose to spite your face for me. Saving money, but what are we saving money exactly for? Just pay the man. Pay Dakota Rain Prescott his money that he deserves. He's earned it.
I think that you do your homework. Skip, I just want someone to tell me the infatuation with Matthew Stafford.
Really?
He's been in the league. Skip, yeah, he has these numbers. And our good friend Detroit, Rob Parker, named him Matthew Papper. Because if you look at
something about Stat Pat.
Yeah, Stat Papper. Because he patted, you look at his numbers like he's the quickest to 30, 20,000, 30,000, 40,000, 50, or I think he got 40,000 yards. But what does he have to show for it? 3 playoff appearances in, a decade, with 0 playoff wins. Dak has been to 2 playoffs half the amount of time and got a playoff win. And don't pretend like, man, he really had nobody. He had what I think 2 1,000-yard rushers in Joyce Bell and Reggie Bush. He had Megatron for 8-9 years. He had Calvin the singing cowboy, Roy Williams. Golden Tate. So don't make it seem like Matthew Stafford hadn't had any offensive weapons, Skip, now. So I don't get it. I get it. You know, the arm talent, and he can throw from different platforms. He still can throw the ball 65, 70 yards, Skip. But I agree with O on this one. He has 2 years left on his deal. That's very
low money.
But you know what he's going to want.
What is it, 20 and 23?
Yeah. Because they gave the bulk of the money over the first 3 years. I think they gave him like $90 million over the first 3 years.
Yep.
So for me, Skip, they're going to have, if you think you're going to trade for him and he's going to play those 2 years at that number, you're crazy. But I believe Dak should be compensated for what he's done. But, hey, Cowboys, do your homework, and whatever you decide, I'll support.
All right. Before I go, back to you, Mr. Scandrick. I assume you've played against Matt Stafford?
I have, in the playoff game.
In the playoff game.
I think he's getting older. I think, Dak's in the prime of his career. Dak is the model citizen. He's the perfect face of your franchise. He has embodied and embraced everything that you talk about being in the Dallas Cowboy, and I think you just reward him. I think there's been several players that have been paid before him, and Ezekiel Elliott, Amari Cooper, and it's just Dak's time. I feel he should be paid.
Okay, do you have
that you've asked him to.
How much respect do you have for Matt Stafford's arm?
I have a lot of respect for Matt Stafford's arm, but these last few years he's been banged up and hasn't played 16 games.
I agree.
This is the first time Dak's missed a game.
Okay. Here's my lone issue with Dak Prescott. I am the biggest fan, but it feels like he and Jerry have clashed so hard that they've gone over the edge past the point of no return. I just have this sinking feeling they're never going to quite get on the same page because, remember the Yahoo report that we talked again and again about, not this past year, but the year before, after the first 3 games, Dak was just on fire, you said, against garbage opponents, but it was, remember, the Giants in Washington and Miami. They were no good that year. But remember, Jerry said publicly after the opening game, we are imminent. Jerry wouldn't say a deal was imminent unless they had agreed on the money. It was just crossing a few T's and dotting a few I's, and all of a sudden, the new agent, Todd France, said, April Fool's, Jerry, we want more money. I don't know exactly how much they demanded. I'm pretty sure it was in the low 40s because they knew that Mahomes was going to get mid-40s, if not more, and that Deshaun was going to get up into the 40s. And they wanted at least in those ballparks. So have they... So has that ship sailed? It may be, because once you cross Jerry Jones, I don't care who you are or how valuable you might be as the face of the franchise. Sometimes it's just you can't get it back on the same page.
Right.
So they franchised him once. If they franchise him again for next year, it's over. He will be going because they're not going to pay him $53 million the next year, right? He will become a free agent. Okay, here's my only thought about Matt Stafford. I agree with all the points you made, the negative points. Here are the positive points. He grew up in a neighborhood called Highland Park. It's affluent. It's right there by SMU, just right in the middle of Dallas, Texas. I'm sure Orlando knows it well.
Yeah,
I know it very well.
Frisco.
He grew up with Clayton Kershaw. They played baseball and football together, and he was a star quarterback for a school that has the richest tradition of football in the state of Texas. It's a mostly white school, but they have been like a white juggernaut for years and years. And I'm sure he's got a soft spot in his heart for, wouldn't he like to go home and finish at home? Would he give them some quote-unquote hometown discount? Maybe. Okay, now I just throw at you real quick. Earlier this year on his weekly TV radio gig that he does, Aaron Rodgers, he raved about Matt Stafford out of the blue. He brought him up unannounced because they were talking about no-look passes. And he said, hey, the guy the dude, he said, who doesn't get enough credit is that number 9 in Detroit. He throws it in ways that people don't talk about enough. He'll throw it any way from any arm angle, no-look, underarm, sidearm, whatever he's going to do. He throws those passes. And then just the other day, Bruce Arians raved about Matt Stafford. I couldn't believe it. Bruce Arians said he's one of the few, first he said he's one of my all-time favorite guys, tough as nails, and that team knows it. He's one of the few quarterbacks I go out early to watch warm up, just to watch him throw the football, because he said he's been one of the top 4 or 5 guys, and he's talking about throwing the football since he walked in the door in this league. Okay, well, don't underestimate his ability to throw it. To me, he's a better passer than Dak. Is he a better leader, a better winner? Well, to your point, no.
Right.
But can he spin the football?
Oh, he can spin. He can spin the football, and he throws a lot of wins away too, doesn't he? Oh,
absolutely. But turns the ball over a lot. But let's just don't even overthink this thing. Dak Prescott in his mid-20s, Matthew Stafford going into his mid-30s.
Well, he's 33.
And
yeah.
I sat in the office with Stephen Jones before, and he told me, when we talked about a contract, he said, we're not going to cut any corners. We know it's no cutting no corners and saving no money. We're going to use all the money that we have, to build the best team that we can to compete for a Super Bowl. I think this will be cutting a corner. I think you taking him, this will be cutting a serious corner, and this will set your franchise back for a long time.
And
you didn't give Zeke Elliott $100 million or $90 million to cut corners. You didn't give Amari Cooper $100 million to cut corners. You just need to get the deal done, pay this man. And the Dallas Cowboys and Jerry Jones and Stephen Jones have never lost a player that they want to keep, ever.
Yeah, the reason why Brady can play late into his career is that, with the exception of 2008, Brady never missed any time.
Nope.
He had no ticky-tack injuries. If you have ticky-tack injuries in your early 30s, how much? It's only a matter of time. You can't just keep having these injuries, missing time, and then all of a sudden, like, you know what? For the next 4 or 5 years, he's going to be totally healthy.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay, is it possible that Matthew Stafford has been somewhat a victim of a sad sack franchise in Detroit that couldn't protect him or put enough help around him?
Absolutely, but he's a loser. Leave him where he's at. We don't want him, Skip.
Whoa, hold on. The tight end there, and him catching 13 passes for 69 yards. Is that really how you want to end your career? So I'm glad it was a great career. I'm glad he decided to say, you know what, it's time.
Well, what happened to Jason Witten in Las Vegas is what a lot of people thought would happen to Tom Brady in Tampa because it became a bad, sad end.